if you're feeling that way, to go back to the basics. Go back to the
Yeah,
beginning. If
absolutely.
you don't feel the way you felt at the beginning, go back and do the things you did at the beginning. If you look elsewhere and the grass looks greener over there than it is here, water your own grass.
Exactly.
Make this grass green.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, and you can't see the poop on the other guy's lawn from your. Okay, good stuff from Jay Payleitner there. Makes you think. And we're in the kitchen here with our kitchen couples, Mike and Diane, and Dan and Danielle. This idea of falling out of love.
I like that he said, expect that it's going to happen. Because we base so much on our emotions that we're going to not really be crazy about this guy sometimes, or we're going to say he is the best thing since sliced bread. Like it's going to go up and down. Our emotions are going to go up and down. So be prepared for it.
Yeah, what I think we need to realize is that love it's a commitment. It's not a feeling, but it's a commitment. And when you commit to that person, that it makes a difference, right? Because a lot of times we think that love is a feeling. Oh, I'm not in love today, or some days I don't like this guy. I love him to pieces. But some days, I don't like him. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to fall out of love, right? I'm committed to him. When we took our vows, I'm committed to him through better for worse, rich or poor, all that, right? So I'm committed to stand in, with him, whatever we're going through. So I think we need to realize that it's a commitment and not a feeling.
Exactly.
I think maybe sort of expecting those range of emotions are going to happen. So maybe just to clarify his statement a little bit, but don't expect to fall out of love. Right? Because love is not a feeling, as she was saying. Love is a commitment. So he was talking about working through. So I kind of thought about this verse. I never thought about this verse in that way before. But when God says, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments, right? Part of what he tells us is to stay with our significant other, right? And to do until death do us part. And so now what we're supposed to do is work the He says, well, I don't feel it anymore. I don't care what you feel. Do what you're supposed to do, right? And if you do what you're supposed to do, then you're going to feel what you want to feel.
Right feelings follow right actions.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
What is that saying, honey, you say about the bacon and eggs?
I think that's a Brian Warren one. He says, remember the bacon and egg breakfast? The chicken was involved, but the pig was committed.
That's a full commitment.
When you get married, you are committed.
Yeah, you would think it sounds depressing almost to say expect to fall out of love, but you would know any sports team has a plan. What's that phrase? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right.
And so it just makes sense. Anyone who succeeds has a plan in place. Any family has a fire escape plan. Anything like that. We just have to. And Proverbs talks about. What is that verse? Where there is no vision, people perish. So you don't have a plan, you plummet. Yeah.
And he said, if you're feeling that way, to go back to the basics.
Yes.
Go back to the beginning. If
absolutely.
you don't feel the way you felt at the beginning, go back and do the things you did at the beginning. If you look elsewhere and the grass looks greener over there than it is here, water your own grass.
Exactly.
Make this grass green.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, and you can't see the poop on the other guy's lawn from your. You know what? We have two dogs, and you go in our backyard. You mean from a distance it looks okay, but you get up close, there's a lot of junk there.
Had to bring that up, didn't you?
And anyway, but we in our society, it's so emotions based. Hollywood and the movies, it's kind of if it feels good, do it, or if you don't feel it, then you've lost it, and these emotions. But emotions can't be the thermostat.
That's right.
We're in our house here, and there's a thermostat just over there, and you set it. And forget it, because it'll bring it to that level. But if the emotions, if you come down, I'm feeling low today, so you bring it down, and that becomes the thermostat for your marriage. It's going to mess things up. It's going to go up and down and up. But the love part is that set it at that 72 degrees, and you stay there because that's the rock. That's the basis. It's a decision of the will.
Well, talking about Hollywood, I mean, we talk about movies and things and what a huge impact they have on our society and on our marriages. But Hollywood says, you have to keep trying until you find your soulmate. You know, if you don't find your soulmate with one spouse, then move on to
Move on
another
to the next,
spouse, and
right.
move on to another
The
spouse.
problem must be the person.
But you know, we've got news for Hollywood, don't we? Soulmates are not found or born; they're made.
Yeah.
You make your soulmate. You make your soulmate in through financial stresses. They're made through changing an endless amount of dirty diapers. They're made through staying faithful through the emotional highs
right.
and lows.
That's right.
They're made through weathering any kind of storm that life throws at you. Soulmates are made. And so, like you said, Diane, it's not based on your emotions
right.
of the day, of the
right.
moment.
That's
It's based on that commitment, that
Yes.
committed love that you
That's
have.
right.
Then your soulmates, you like Jay ended that segment with. He said you find that your love is more passionate, more committed, more deeply rooted when you stay together, even when you have fallen out of love.
And when you walk through all of that stuff, I can firmly say, I love you so much more purely and deeply now than even when
And
I was
that's what
standing at the
happens.
altar.
Yeah, that's exactly what
exactly.
happens.
And I think Hollywood gets a bad rap sometimes because ultimately in Hollywood it works out in the end, right? And so I think that's the message here. If you stay after it, right, it does work out in the end. It is worth it. It's worth the challenge. It's worth the battle, right? And if you stay with it, it will work out in the end.
It might not be a 2-hour movie span where it works
Yes,
out. It might take more
yes,
work, a little
yes.
longer, but it
right.
will.
Absolutely.
Worth the effort and the energy you put into it, but you do have to put that into it. It's so important. Well, when we come back, we're going to be hearing from Dr. Mike on the beach with the teaching about one of the biggest complaints he hears from couples in his clinical office. All right?
Stay with
Don't
us.
Do a little thing with my friends. My friend says, "Oh, I owe you one." I always says, "No, always remember, friends are always even."